Well, it's Thursday Wrestling, and you know what that means. Today we got more on New Japan Pro Wrestling's road to Dontaku Wrestling, NXT UK, and of course, Impact Wrestling. But also, we're going to talk about the recent development that took place today with with WWE with certain talent that were released. But all of that will be reviewed, discussed, and talked about on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host J Rod here. So let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to Dontaku, which took place on the 15th of April, which was today in Japan time. Opening match was a six-man tag team match. First team we got Suzuki-gun, consistent of Minoru Suzuki, Kanemaru, and Despy, taking on Tomoaki Honma and, of course, Roppongi 3K. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned before and again, Roppongi 3K will put the IWGP Junior Tag titles on the line against Kanemaru and Despy. Now, as you know, recently they had many partners for their six-man tag team match. They had already Yuya Uemura, Gabriel Kidd, but this time they got Honma. As you know, Honma and Minoru Suzuki likes to get each other's throats, but however, it wasn't enough to stop the King himself, who put Honma in a submission. Now, keep in mind, we are going to see this rematch coming soon. We'll just see what happens down the line. Next match, we have more of Suzuki-gun members. We got Doiki, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taichi taking on Bullet Club members Yato, Tama, and Tonga. Now, as you know, these guys are also going to be in the Taichi and Zack Sabre, known as the Dangerous Techers, are in a match against the God, Tama, and Tonga, which is going to be a crazy match. And don't forget that there's going to be the Iron Fingers on top of a thing you have to climb a ladder. So, however, this is becoming a feud. This feud began when Tama Tonga and Tongaloa won the War uh, Tag League, and of course, if you guys remember, Zack Sabre Jr. thinks that these guys are a bunch of losers because they lost their title 6 times, and they believe they can make them lose it 7 times because they thought that's what they are, a bunch of losers. But this time it didn't go exactly as planned. It was Tongaloa who picked up the victory, proving that they are still dominant, but it's not enough for Taichi, who wants to end them. Next match, we got Bullet Club members Gedo, Ishimori, Yujiro, Kenta, and Evil taking on Chaos members Yoshihashi, Goto, Ishii, and Yano, teaming with the Ace and, of course, the current Never Openweight champion. And this time, this match was kind of intense in every way. As you know, Kenta still has the bow staff that belongs to Yoshi, but he believes that saying that the bow staff has a mind of its own, that doesn't want to be back with Yoshihashi. He even used it, but it didn't work. But the tables have turned when the lights went off, because as you know, this is the mind games they're playing with Yano. But this time, Yano actually took matters in his own hands, but it did allow for Tanahashi to pick up the victory. But as soon as the match was over, Yoshihashi was able to recover the bow staff, but Kenta was trying to reclaim it back, that it belongs to him. Even he did try to get it right in the back, but it did not happen. So basically, it still goes on. Next match, we got the United Empire, Jeff Cobbs and the Great Okan taking on LIJ members Bushi and Tetsuya Naito. But Tetsuya Naito goes on a spree where he's mocking the position of Great Okan. If you guys ever seen Great Okan, he always has his hands back like he's ready for a fight, like he's not ready to strike yet. So he's been playing that game, and of course, you see Khan do the same thing. But the match ended in favor of United Empire when, of course, Jeff Cobb applied the Tour of the Islands on Bushi. But however, this feud between LIJ and the United Empire is far from over due to the fact that the Feelers leader of United Empire will face a member of LIJ down the line in Dontaku Wrestling. Now, the main event, we have another tag team, but this time consistent of the same previous team. We have LIJ members Sanada and Shingo taking on United Empire's Aaron Henare and Will Ospreay. This also is also one of those matches where we have to pay attention due to the fact that they're going to be racing down the line. But every move they try to pull. Now, Aaron Henare, this is his time to shine, teaming with the fearless leader, the kingpin of the United Empire. But this time, it did not go his way. The match ended in favor of LIJ. But I can assure you down the line that Will Ospreay will not be pleased with this match. This war has just begun. So that's pretty much it with New Japan. So let's talk about NXT UK. Okay, so let's start with NXT UK right now with their opening match with Saxon Huxley taking on the former Ben Carter, now known as Nathan Frazier. I have to say this match kind of proved a David versus Goliath kind of setup. As you know, Saxon Huxley is a big dude, powerful dude, a power guy. As for Nathan Frazier, he is more of a very athletic but very fast individual with his speed. You would have assumed in the back of your minds, if you guys watch this match, that Saxon Huxley would have won. But every ounce of energy that Nathan Frazier does, he was able to pick up the victory. He was not going to give up that easily. He wanted to prove that he belongs in NXT UK, and that's exactly what he did. Now, last week, you guys remember in the prelude, Noam Dar was involved in the number one contenders match. Apparently, Noam Dar and Shaw Samuels are not a happy campers, knowing that now you got Tyler Bate, who will get another shot of the Heritage Cup against A-Kid. But however, they will be facing the Mustache Mountain, consistent of Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, which is going to be an awesome match. I love Mustache Mountain. They're an amazing team to watch. Now, speaking of Noam Dar sets up another Supernova Sessions, but this time he brought Gallus. Gallus, who refused to sit on the folding chair, sat on the couch. And of course, Noam Dar doesn't want to get involved. But however, as you know, Noam Dar likes to stir things up. It appears that someone from Joe Coffey's past has some unfinished business with them, and that person is none other than the sadistic mastermind, Eddie Dennis. So basically, he wants a crack at him because, according to him, Joe Coffey has been ignoring him. But he didn't come alone. He had T-Bone and Primate come out to do the attacking. But it's already been confirmed now that Joe Coffey and Eddie Dennis will face off one-on-one next week. Now, the next thing we see is, of course, Sam Gradwell, who was not in a good mood after losing to none other than Ilya Dragunov. Now, keep in mind, Sam Gradwell was playing mind games with Dragunov, trying to prove that he's a better man and that he's just a guy who lost his mind. But of course, he was locked out of NXT UK, all thanks to Dave Mastiff. Now, it wouldn't surprise me down the line that he would challenge Dave Mastiff for being, in his word, a prick. So basically, that's what's going to happen. I have that feeling that we're going to have that match sooner. Now we got this interesting women's match. We got Isla Dawn taking on Amelia McKenzie. This match was very amazing. If you guys know this, while ago, I knew Amelia McKenzie when she was known as Millie McKenzie. You guys know her backstory, what happened when she spoke out on the Speaking Out movement. If not, then you guys should do research on that. She's a real interesting competitor. I even followed her for almost a year. I was surprised that her mentor is none other than Meiko Satomura. If you guys don't know this, prior before signing with WWE, she actually went to Sendai Girls and trained under their ways, wrestled for them, and it's pretty cool to see that. But apparently, this match was a very interesting one because I never would have expected. Um, I would have assumed it was going to be an upset with Amelia beating Aladon, but not this time because the ref got in the way and took advantage of Aladon, took advantage of it, allowing herself to win the match. But however, this is not gonna. I don't know if this is gonna be the last you hear of those two facing off, but we'll see how that goes. Now, Ginny, as you know, she's been attacking every woman that stood in her way, believing that they don't belong in NXT UK. She already did that with Piper Nevins, and they lost. And now she's attacking Luna, Danny Luna, saying that she doesn't belong there. I have a feeling that her new friends, Morgan and Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, will give her help again, since that no good Joseph Connors is going to be there. Now, last week, we talked about what happened in that tag team match between Amelia McKenzie and Meiko Satomura taking on Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn. But however, in the post match, we saw this Aoife Valkyrie shows up, leaves her a feather, so it looks like she found a challenger. But what it doesn't show last week, it shows today for this particular episode, Mikamura accepts the challenge from Valkyrie. So this is going to be another great match to watch. Now keep in mind, Valkyrie is undefeated, but we'll see what happens in this one. Can the final boss defeats her? Well, we don't know. I'm excited. Hopefully, we'll see that soon. Now, next match we have is Ashton Smith taking on Jake Stars, being accompanied by Piper Nevins. Now, this was an important match for Jake Star. I love the storytelling on this one because, as you know, Jake Stars was being manipulated by Joseph Connors and Ginny, believing that he's nothing. But Piper Nevins says, "Who cares what they think? They don't know you." So she's been helping him out to get back in shape, try to get into fighting mode, showing that you're nothing. You're not nothing. You are somebody. And this time, this match proved it that he is something, and he pulled off a major win against Ashton Smith. And this was probably one of the best moments of his life. And I'm so happy to see that. And like I said, I love the storyline with Piper Nevins and Jake Stars. Now, this the main event, which is former friends now turned enemies, Kenny Williams taking on Amir Jordan. Now, this match was unbelievably good because it told a story like Kenny Williams turned to the dark side, deciding to cheat his way through to win matches. Amir wanted to stay positive, but this time it did not work for him. Basically, Kenny Williams took the advantage, but the real question is this over between these two? We only will see what happens down the line. But all we can hope is see what this is going to lead to them. So I think that's it for NXT UK. So let's move on with Impact Wrestling. Right, so we got Impact Wrestling coming out of the fallout for Hardcore Justice this past Saturday. As you know, they were having the Jazz retirement ceremony, but we'll get that in a little bit. The opening match was TJP versus Josh Alexander. Now, keep in mind, these two competitors will be facing each other in a triple threat match for the X Division Championship. Now, I like this match. This was a great opener because it showed TJP has an amazing ability. Like, he knows how to counter a move and turn it into a submission. But as for Josh Alexander, he's very powerful in that. That's why they call him the walking weapon. But however, it did not end well for TJP when Josh Alexander put him in the ankle lock. So it allowed him to win. So we'll see what happens, who will have the advantage to win at the Rebellion. Now, recently there was videos, packages showing that we're going to expect someone from Impact's past. We're talking about Taylor Wilde. So it's revealed that she is returning. As those who don't know who Taylor Wilde is, she was a Knockouts champion and a tag team Knockouts champion too. Knockouts tag team champion. She retired from wrestling, and apparently she ended up as a firefighter. But now seeing that she's returning, this is going to be a very interesting thing to see. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if she will be gunning for the Knockouts Championship that is currently being held by Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this is the next the next match we have Crazy Steve along with members of Decay, Rosemary, and Black Taurus take on one half of the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson. This match, there was a lot of questions: is can they still be the same Good Brothers that we know after losing the tag titles to Finjuice? Well, that's a real quick question. But however, as you know, the Good Brothers like to win their matches by cheating their way through, and that's exactly what they did. They won by cheating, and that's exactly who they are. But can they regain those tag titles at Rebellion? We'll see when that happens. Now, as you know, the Swingers Palace likes to take on bets. Who has the much better numbers? Who's going to win? Austin went there to find out what's his odds. Apparently, they're saying that the odds are not good against him. But however, TJP does have the better odds. But Josh Alexander was like not impressed that they're playing games. But he did have someone who, in fact, saying he has the better odds. And if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, if you guys saw the Scott Steiner math, this time it's Petey Williams giving the math saying that one-on-one you only have like 50-50 chance of winning. So everybody's jaws drops. There's those with the confusions like, I thought it was funny. I thought it was great things. And of course, Josh Alexander said, I like my odds. So even though TJP understood the odds, but however, it's Austin Theory who Ace Austin who actually got lost. I thought it was funny. And I would not expect that. Now, speaking of what happened in Hardcore Justice, we were expecting Eddie Tommy Dreamer to show up. But however, before the start of the match, someone attacked him. Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack believed it was violent by design, but they made it clear they had nothing to do with it. They said they would have attacked the other members while they're outside, but it didn't matter to Eddie Edwards, and of course he actually wanted to fight. The odds were not good in their favors, but however they did get help from the Cowboy James Storm and of course Chris Sabian. So this time they set up a match. This coming Rebellion pay-per-view, it's going to be Violent by Design taking on the Cowboy, Storm, Sabin, Mack, and Edwards in a 8-man tag team match, which is going to be good. Now, as you know, the retirement ceremony is coming soon. D'Amore told Deonna Purrazzo and Susan they don't want them near the ring. They want to leave this time strictly for her. So basically, that's what happened. But however, I think D'Amore also was a little curious about Susan. As you know what happened where Su Yung came back. So basically playing a little of the mind games. But we'll see where that's going to go. Now, as you know, don't know yet, this time we have a brand new show in Tahoe shows. Now since Madison Rain left, we got Tennille Dashwood, All About Me. I'm not too fond of that, to be honest with you. I just feel like it's always about her. That's the thing that kind of gets me off. But we'll see what happens. Who is going to crash the party? Now, the ceremony with Jazz was so amazing. Saying how she wanted to go out with a bang, all this and that, and she thanked Jordan Grace to bring her along. And she's never been to Impact, just keep in mind. She has been with WWE and, of course, NWA, but this time being Impact, that kind of gave her more love. But however, the ceremony was disrespected by none other than Fire and Flavor. They are saying, "Get out of here! This is our win. We don't." So what? But however, D'Amore didn't take that lightly, so he set up in the match. Everybody in their street clothes. So it's Fire and Flavor versus Grace and Jazz. And you can guess, it ended with a bang for Jazz winning the match. And she thanked everyone who were watching Impact, but also thanked everyone who was there. Now, As soon as the ceremony was over, Fire and Flavor went to complain to D'Amore, saying that he had no right to do that, but he was a little upset that these two decided to crash the ceremony, even though this was her moment. Now, Fire and Flavor, very people believe, so what about the ceremony? She needs to go. But she did state that she was going to have both of them have their tag titles on the line in Rebellion against Jazz and Jordan. As soon as they left, Jazz heard it, but however, she lost. She has to retire. A deal's a deal, and she's a woman of her word. But however, she did state it to D'Amore. That doesn't mean that Jordan Grace cannot be in that. So she will be involved in Rebellion. But however, Jazz did say that she has the perfect partner that would tag with her. I can't wait to see this. Now we have an interesting two-part match in this one called Pick Your Poison. As you know, the rivalry between both Brian Myers and Matt Cardona has been escalated. As you know, Brian Myers has been saying that Impact Wrestling is his show. He's the franchise. He believes that Matt Cardona is just chasing his coattails, but that's not true. Matt Cardona made it clear that it was just a coincidence that he was signed. But Cardona doesn't believe that. So Cardona picked for his poison. He picked Jake something. The match was really good, but however, it went back into the favor of Brian Myers. But his poison was someone who I did not expect. It was Sami Callihan. However, I don't think Matt Cardona has ever faced a guy like Callihan before, and he lost due to the violent ways of Callihan. But as soon as the match was over, he called out Trey, saying that he should thank him, that he was there during that final moment in that hardcore war match in Hardcore Justice. But however, Trey said that he did it because he knows it's the right thing. But apparently it was revealed now that Violent by Design were telling the truth. It wasn't Violent by Design who took out Tommy Dreamer. It was, in fact, Sami Callihan trying to have him take him under his wing, but Trey has no interest in that whatsoever. But he decimated him over and over, but however, he was still standing. He was getting up, and Sami liked that. But it later was told that he was going to be in a last man standing match at Rebellion, which is going to be an amazing match to watch. Now, FinJuice did stated that they're returning for Rebellion, putting the titles on the line. I can't wait to see what this is going to happen, but they said they will retain the titles at Rebellion. All we can do is wait and see. Now, the ending of this whole thing, of the event of this show, we have the press conference between both Kenny Omega and Rich Swann, which is the title versus title. Now, you can tell Rich Swann is a fighting champion, but of course, Don Callis saying there is no way Rich Swann could beat him. And Kenny saying that he is a means to an end, knowing that he's going to lose because of the one-wing angel. But all we can do is see what happened. But however, the bigger questions were, whoever hold either title, let's say Rich Swann won the AEW, he has to make the appearance at AEW. And if Kenny did the same thing with Impact, he has to do the same thing as well. But it ended into a heated argument all the entire time, so they had to restrain both men. So we'll see what happens at the go home show before Rebellion. So this is going to be a very interesting last show before that. So for now, let's just end the episode with the recent releases in WWE. Okay, it's been nearly 1 year since what happened on April 15th of 2020. This is where 40 plus people within WWE, that includes wrestlers, producers, crew members, whatever were involved, were released by WWE due to the pandemic because of budget cuts. And now it appears 1 year later, We expected that, but this time, instead of 40 plus, we only got 10 wrestlers. Now, they did announce for 9 in the beginning. Here are the ones who they released. The 9 wrestlers they released first: Billy Kay, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Callisto, Wesley Blake, Samoa Joe, Bo Dallas, and Peyton Royce. And then hours later, Mojo Rawley. Now, there's certain things that kind of I don't understand. Some of these wrestlers are good. They are very talented. Like, for example, Samoa Joe. I feel that he should have been back in the ring sooner. I hate to say this because I don't know if WWE were doing the same old crap that they did with Daniel Bryan, saying, "Oh, you won't be able to wrestle." That kind of bothers me. Samoa Joe is a great wrestler. I've seen him on TNA, now Impact. I'm like thinking, what the hell, WWE? This guy has an impressive resume, and you decided, and he never got to accomplish the one thing he wanted, was to win either the Universal title or the WWE title. That I find it really pathetic. But there were certain wrestlers I feel they made a mistake long before this. Why did you separate the Iconics? I don't get it. Why you separate them? And then you have Billy Kay team up with Camilla. And then you got Payne who teamed up with Lacey Evans. What the hell? You guys separate them to be a tag team, be singles competitors, and now you put them back in tag teams with different people? I have to say that was so messed up. But I have to say, here's the thing. I'm not a fan of the Iconics, but I can agree about this. They were a true, legit tag team for the women's division. Why separate them? But however, I can say this. I would love to see these two reunite, but somewhere else. And the only promotion I feel that they have the capability to do that is Impact Wrestling. And I know one person would love to have them in the company. It's Tennille Dashwood. If you guys know this or not, she's really good friends with these two ladies. It would make sense. Now think about it. 3 Australians. Let's say Tennille Dashwood won the Knockouts Championship. Then you got these two, the Iconics, or whatever they're going to call themselves outside of WWE. They could win the Knockouts Tag Team titles. Keep that in mind. I would love to see that. But I know some of you are saying, but J-Rod, what about Peyton Royce's hubby? I mean, he is in AEW. That may be true, but keep in mind the women's division down there. It's not currently in the high standards as we've seen with the Knockouts in Impact or WWE. That's the thing. There's been a huge criticism because of that. To me, no disrespect to AEW, I would love to see the Iconics go to Impact because I feel they would do a great job down there. Now, the one person I'm kind of feeling like she should have done more is Chelsea Green. I mean, Chelsea has a great reputation. Don't get me wrong, she is, I don't know if she's engaged or married to Matt Cardona, but I would like to see her in AEW, but however, she does have a bit of history with Impact Wrestling. I feel that either one of those two companies can take her. And even Scott D'Amore said he would love to have her back. And do I think that Samoa Joe should go back to Impact? Maybe, but I feel that he could do a much better job in AEW because he has another big reputation he can put. I say it would be an interesting thing to see. Now, we look at Tucker. Now, I wasn't too fond of the idea of separating Tucker and Otis. I feel that was really messed up. I mean, I love Heavy Machinery. I love their gimmick. But, I don't know. I mean, he's not much of a bigger deal as a singles competitor, but I'm just disappointed that they separate them. That's the thing. As for Wesley Blake, he was part of the Forgotten Sons. And, of course, because of what happened with, what's his name? Jackson Ryder, or whatever he calls himself, now aligning himself with with Elias. I'm not to know don't know what they're gonna do with him, but hopefully he'll be somewhere good where he will thrive. But as for Bo Dallas, he did state it what he wants to do. I don't know. Some people say he should have done something with his brother, Bray Wyatt. You know, they're real life brothers, those two. And I feel like, yeah, they should have done that. Why did you guys didn't do that? Why not put them in the same faction or something? That kind of messes up. But as for Callisto, he's a terrific cruiserweight. I love Callisto, how he wrestles. But I ask myself, where the hell's he been the entire time? Why they were not utilizing? I know they have utilized the other members of Lucha House Party, but why not him? Where the hell has he been? And I find that questionable. I ask, where the hell has he been? But if they had him in catering, I'll be pissed. I will be pissed if they did the same thing to Andrade, because it proves how selfish WWE has been. Why you're not utilizing these guys right? And for example, last guy I want to talk about is Mojo Rollins. Couldn't you do something good with him? All these guys, all these people, you could have done something better. You could have had the Iconics reunite. But no. Mickie James, well, we know her career's been going, her wrestling in-ring work has not been great that much, but I would like to see her stick around, maybe help out with the women's division down there. But some people made on comments on social media that, oh, she probably would join her hubby. If you guys know this or not, she's married to the national treasure, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis. And, of course, they have a kid. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have her go there. I mean, if that's the case. Chelsea Green. I mean, I know she didn't do so much in WWE, but I felt they could have done more. I feel, in my opinion, they pushed her out of NXT too early, and that's what happened. She wasn't in NXT for that long. I feel they could have done more, develop her more, but they didn't. But I can tell you, whatever happened to these people, I know for a fact, like I said, Billie Kay and Payne, they could join Impact to be part of the Knockouts tag team division. Chelsea Green, she could go with AEW or Impact Wrestling, be with her husband. But that's pretty much it. Most of the wrestlers who I'm kind of like disappointed that they let go is Callisto, Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green. These are three competitors that should not have been removed, but I hope WWE remembers you wasted valuable time. Deonna Purrazzo meant that cleared for her when she was there. She wasted her time. You guys wanted her. You didn't want her in All In. But this is your mistake, WWE. You gotta live with it. You're gonna wish you never would have released them, because you could have done more for them. We've seen wrestlers who left WWE to join other companies, and they're thriving. Don't expect that they will come back sooner. So, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. There's more to come. I still got more Japanese wrestling I need to review, ones that I haven't seen. There's another one I want to check out that came out called, I haven't reviewed, The Collective. That is still on the list. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel, so I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang!